We run into success when we ourselves become an embodiment of success. And I became so intentional with my life and so aware that I started to document it. I started to write things down, envision the life that I truly want, the life of my dreams, to make it simpler. But before we get to that, listen, I got a hypothesis. I got a proposition. What if the reason people stay stuck is because we lie to ourselves? I became so obsessed with growing and learning to the point where I started a podcast about growth. It's really because I started to see the patterns. I saw the patterns of my life year after year. I was just miserable. I was unhappy, unfulfilled, frustrated. I had to get real with myself. We just lie to ourselves. We all lie to ourselves. That's what's preventing us from getting to the next level. I want to tell you that I started to notice my own patterns. And when I did, I made a decision. And that decision was like, I'm done with this pattern. If you're listening to this, then that means you're probably either in the process of transforming, or you're already transformed and you want to get to the next level, or you're just like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And I like his setup, so I might as well listen. Appreciate it. Thank you. A little bit of a background of why I started all of this, why you've probably seen presence or present talks. The reason I named it that way is because I believe that in order for us to be truly honest with ourselves, we have to be aware. And when we become aware, that means we're fully present. That is why I'm working on building a philosophy around being present, writing a book about it, becoming a person that is so present that all of my friends, my people, have no choice but to do the same with me, around me. And that's exactly why I want to create a little series. You know what I'm saying? So we got a little series action. This might be a little bit different from all the self-improvement videos, podcasts that you listen to. Or it might be a different type of, what the hell's going on? You know, because he's trying to be serious, but he's not. How do I believe? It doesn't matter. What matters is what I'm about to tell you is that growth is repeatable. When we become aware of those patterns, we start to recognize what's going on with our lives. When we begin to notice these loops, which is the theme of this series, growth is just patterns, growth is just repeatable, we start to realize that drifting is also a pattern. And why I say drifting, because people are on autopilot. People are distracted. People are not focused. I truly believe in being the pilot or being the driver of your life versus being in the passenger seat or being in the back seat. Same concept. These are patterns. Failure is a pattern. So is success. Being miserable is a pattern. So is being fulfilled. Now, the difference between A or B is deciding, making a decision, and becoming fully aware of our current circumstance, that we have no other choice but to choose what's right. You know, transformation is not something that you can hack. It's a journey. And I became so intentional with my life and so aware that I started to document it. I started to write things down. I started to envision the life that I truly want, the life of my dreams, to make it simpler. But before we get to that dream life, there's steps to it, just like any other journey. Because at the end of the day, growth doesn't happen. It doesn't start with doing more. It starts with noticing the patterns. Growth isn't random. It's repeatable. The difference is whether we're aware enough to choose the life that we desire, which leads us to my very first point. Patterns equals systems. Why? Because when we stack our habits, it turns into a system. I told you guys about my fitness. I'm currently in a fitness journey. I'm trying to get shredded. And what that takes is a lot of systems, a lot of mini things that add up. It's like stacking up mini habits that lead up to this big system of fitness 101, at least for me, because I'm a beginner. I'm trying to learn all these little hacks and tips and whatever you want to call it, but it's really just systems. So I started to systemize my fitness, right? Same thing goes for your life. Small habits that stack up will lead to the system that run your life. If you don't design the systems that you have for your life, you'll end up drifting. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm going to just run into my dream. No. If you don't design your dream, and if you don't design your habits, and if you don't become intentional with what you do and what your patterns are, you're not going to run into your dream one day and just be like, oh my gosh, I made it. No. That's not how it works. You know this. I don't got to tell you this. Understanding the truth, which many of us hate. It's up to us on how intentional, how quick, how bad we want to become brand new. Rebranding, some people call it. Some people call it changing your identity. All of that wraps around the idea of changing your patterns. Yes or no? We start to realize all of these is just a circle of what's happening with my life, what decisions am I making, who am I surrounding myself with, what's going in my head, what am I inputting in my head, what am I eating. I'll give you an example. I wake up early and I work out very early, not just for the fitness aspect, but solely because it gives me time back. Again, that's the pattern that I recognize with waking up early. I got to have more time because I feel like we don't have enough time in a day. I just genuinely think I wish we had 28 hours. That would be nice. But that's not the case. I noticed that if I worked out early, which means I get to be done with the hard thing out of the day, not only I get this workout boost, workout high, whatever you want to call it, the rest of the day is just a piece of cake. But that's just one aspect of it. The biggest thing for me is time. So what if I told you waking up early and getting the workout out of the way, by the time you get off work, okay, from a 9-to-5ers, you now have more time to put that 2 or 3 hours after work towards your dream life, towards your passion, towards whatever it is that you just enjoy doing. Do you see what I'm going with this? That's the pattern that I saw. Claiming back my time by waking up early. A simple, tiny decision. Or as Thames would say, decision. This is my decision. Okay. Same thing goes with meal prepping. If there was a mukbang challenge, a $10,000 prize at the end, I promise you no one's going to stand a chance. I love food, but I decided that I have to get into meal prepping to save more time and decision fatigue, and I can reach my fitness goal. More decisions. Again, your systems run your life whether or not we design them to be. Our systems will run our life whether or not we design it. So are you telling me if I just live my current life now, I won't end up achieving my goals versus changing up my systems so that I can achieve my goals? This is like second grade stuff. What I've noticed is that people just need this type of information so that they can become aware of it. That's all it is. And this is my way of sharing my transformation, because someone out there will benefit from this transformation. If it's not you, it's someone else. And if you are already here, you might as well do your due diligence of supporting the channel. And that is through liking, that is through commenting your thoughts, and that is to sharing it and subscribing to my channel. Wow, I sound like... Okay, but that leads us to the second point. Patterns equals what? Your identity. What we repeat, we become. Identity is built. It's not found. Again, it's just like the $1 million comparison or analogy that I like to talk about. We are not going to run into $1 million one day because of just living our day-to-day life. No. We run into that $1 million life by becoming $1 million self. We run into success when we ourselves become an embodiment of success. Are we following along? That's what I mean by identity is built, not found. We have to understand the truth that patterns are repeatable. Patterns are just a set of habits, of systems, and then also patterns are what leads to an identity. And our identity is something that we change from the core. For all the people that love to work out, right? There's a difference between someone that just goes to the gym and someone who trains, right? If you want to become your most highest version of yourself, whether it's in fitness, whether it's in business, you have to embody this identity. It's not just, I'm going to do it. It's, I need to become it, right? So for gym, you have to become someone who trains. For someone that does content, you have to be someone who becomes a creator who posts consistently, who makes content consistently. Same thing goes for an author. If you're someone that wants to write a book, you have to be writing consistently. Yes? A lot of these things I'm telling myself, by the way. So we're both growing. We're both growing here. Is your identity isn't decided once. It's not. It's proven through our daily patterns, pattern by pattern. Oh my God. I hope someone out there is actually getting something out of this, because clearly I'm getting something out of it. All right? Pattern by pattern. Which leads me to my third point. Every decision, okay? Hear me out. Every decision, every pattern leads to our destiny. Small repeated choices, small repeated patterns will lead to our future. So that means the bar for success, the bar for greatness is achievable, because that means all we have to do is stack a bunch of decisions that lead to that future state, dream life that we want. It is, my goodness, it's like reverse engineering the life that you want. And how do you reverse engineer? You become aware. And once you become aware, you make habits. Then we turn those habits into systems. And then you duplicate, you replicate. Now you got more systems that are working for you, or we don't rise to the level of their goals, right? We fall to the level of our systems. We have a system for our fitness. Suddenly we're getting in shape without even deciding that it actually gave us time, which means we don't have to decide. It's already done. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from with this entire topic, and why I wanted to start with this is because drifting and growing are just patterns that both compound. To give you another analogy, and this is me that I'm starting to learn and understand. As a content creator, I edit a lot. Editing content is similar to editing your life, because when I edit, I go through the entire raw file and I just look at the things that matter. I look at the things that actually bring me, oh, I love this. This is exciting. And I cut out the ones that are not necessary, yes? And once you get beginning, middle, or end, you start to form a story. Video editing is the same thing as editing our patterns. If we edit our patterns, we start to see the beginning, middle, or end, meaning we can start curating those decisions that we need to add or put in place in our life. Are we following? And once we start seeing a zoomed out picture of our life, because we zoomed out now, we start to see where we need to fill out as far as gaps go, remove things that don't really align with where we're going, and we start to design. We start to become the architect of this life, of this gift that we're given. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what I want to show you guys. Once we cut the fluff and we leave the highlights, meaning the things that matter, and then we stitch all of that into a story, doesn't that mean we become the designer of our life? Then we can wrap up the third point, which is our destiny is just the sum of our patterns. Easier said than done, bro. What are you talking about? It's not that easy. Well, what if it is? What if all of the things that you believe is hard, it's all in your head? What if instead of talking about this thing is hard and I can't even change my patterns because it's not that easy, what if you just decide 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and do the thing that scares you, and do the thing that will actually change your movie, right? Because we're talking about editing here. Your life is a movie. So what you do is, instead of trying to change the intro, what if you just change the middle, which is the present moment? Oh my God. So if we change the present moment, that's equivalent to changing the decisions that you're currently taking. That's equivalent to changing the patterns that you currently have, changing the systems that you're currently living by. Do you even have a system? Ask that. What are your systems if you do? Do you need to create a new one? Is it outdated? I think success, fulfillment, growth has never been easier. I want to be the person that can remind you, coming from a standpoint that I'm doing this with you, that I'm learning all of this with you, that it is that simple. We just like to complicate things. We like to make things a little bit harder than it already is. I just want you to understand that in order for us to make a change, we have to be aware. And that's the first phase of transformation as a whole, is we need to be brutally honest of our life. Noticing, understanding that we don't have to fix everything today. We can slowly take efforts, decisions, slowly changing our patterns day by day. And over time, it stacks up. Over time, it turns into a system. And over time, it becomes your identity. It changes who we are. And when you change who you are, that means you're slowly writing your destiny. And your future goes from being this way to this way, right? This way, 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 this way. Okay, but I hope I was able to draw a picture, a vision in your head that a lot of the things that we complicate is actually easier than we think it is. And so I want to challenge you. This week, track 3 different patterns that you're currently running in your life. 3. I encourage you to notice them as a starting phase. And we can't notice them if we don't track them, right? So that's one of the ways that I notice and become more aware is I track. Track 3 patterns that you're currently running in your life. Write them down. Because thinking in your head, we absorb so much knowledge, information, wisdom, distractions. Our brain is always running. And so if you write this down, you'll be able to see clearly whether or not they're adding to your life or subtracting to your life. And the whole point of this is, remember, growth is repeatable, and so is drift, and so is being someone that's miserable. And honestly, I would rather choose being so fulfilled, living abundantly, living so present that nothing can stop me from getting to my next level. And that's what I want you guys to understand, that transformation is a journey, but transformation is up to us on how fast, how efficient we want to take this route. Because there's a faster way to understand all this complicated concepts. I want to be someone that can explain to you all of these hard things. And that's why I wasn't making fun of quantum physics. I wasn't making fun of vibrations, but I just want to be the person that can explain to you a little bit more simpler so that it can lead to more action. And if you've been following my journey, this is just the beginning. We're only getting better. We're only getting more confident, and we're only getting clearer by the day. So stick around. Next week, we'll dive into drifting, why it's the default, and how we can break out of it. I hope I was able to add some value to your life today. And honestly, there's nothing better than living a life that we truly desire. And the only way that we can do that is by starting with step 1. And that is to become fully aware of our patterns. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you in the next one. Peace.